Hey everybody, this is Ben Hansen with Game Informer, and I'm here with...
Michael DePlata, VP of Creative, Monolith Productions, working on Shadow of War. Today, we're going to see one of our Nazgul boss fights against Helm Hammerhand. So we're behind enemy lines in Mordor, we've conquered some fortresses from Sauron, and now the Nazgul have been sent to try and take them back.
Helm Hammerhand. Of all the Nazgul, his fall was most tragic. His rage knows no bounds.
The Dark Lord will have his prize, Ranger of Gondor. That fortress is a tiny island surrounded by a sea of darkness, and the tide rises against you.
Yeah, the cool thing with Helm is he has power over the monsters and creatures of Mordor, so he's able to summon in these ghouls and the Caragors, but the thing with Talion is we have the Ring of Power, so basically any threat that can get brought against us, we can turn that back against them as well.
So this is one of the first boss fights in the game, or where are we at here?
Yeah, this is one of the first times we face the Nazgul again after we've gone kind of behind enemy lines and deeper into Mordor. We fought Suladan before, actually even though that guy's dazed. One of the fun things is in our story missions now, we can bring in your followers and the Nemesis system characters actually come into the boss fights.
The armies of the Dark Lord, like his powers, are limitless.
And so, you gotta help me out. The guy's name is Helm Hammerhand.
Helm Hammerhand, and so he's the guy after whom Helm's Deep was named. So that big battle in the Two Towers, that's named after him. So he's this legendary figure.
What's the role of boss fights this time around? It seems like the entire point of Shadow of Mordor was to make boss fights more dynamic and kind of merge out of the system, and that was part of the thrill. So what role do traditional boss fights fit for Shadow of War?
And we've absolutely doubled down on that with the Nemesis boss fights. I mean, that's basically what the fort assaults are, like epic boss fights of boss fights. But the things that the Nazgul give us, apart from big dramatic narrative moments of learning the backstories of these kind of iconic villains, is they also let us focus on some different mechanics that we don't otherwise necessarily have in the open world. So with Helm, he can really just go over the top on that ability to be summoning in monsters and creatures, even more so than what we can give to some of the most powerful orcs.
You will not break it!
And who's this here?
So that is Eltariel just coming in at the last moment to save us again. She's definitely making a habit of that. She's been hunting Nazgul for a very long time.
What feedback about the bosses in Shadow of Mordor really stuck with the team?
No quick times.
So no quick time events and bosses.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we just wanted to keep evolving and improving and kind of bringing the story elements in and leveraging some unique mechanics, but not kind of restricting the player too much in how you fight them.
I'm making a habit of saving you.
I think I prefer the version where you don't impale me.
Where is Nazgul?
Nearby. Can you keep up?
Do my best. It was not the first time for you to face Helm, was it?
I've faced each ring-wraith more times than I can count.
And you've never defeated them?
Not yet.
Then why do you keep fighting?
In the war against darkness, sometimes stalemate is victory.
For now, the battle must be won.
Here we go. She's played by Laura Bailey, right?
Yes, Laura Bailey and Troy Baker as Talion. So they just work incredibly well together.
I think they're joined at the hip at this point, actually, technically.
It's in their contract. And and so with Helm, because he was a king of Rohan, so we think of them as the horse lords, really obviously in touch with the wild and with these creatures. So in his Nazgul form, he's really applied that to being able to have control of all of these different beasts and creatures.
So Helm was a character in the lore, but it's never made clear that he's a Nazgul. That's your guys' connection.
Yeah, we're creating that connection between him as being a king of men and also him having this history of being a spirit of vengeance. So he's like a legendary vengeful spirit in Rohan, which sort of gives him a very interesting bit of connected lore to Talion and Talion's story as well. So each of the Nazgul, as we're revealing their histories and backstories, it's each kind of a way of I guess shedding a different bit of light on Talion and his fate in terms of being brought back from death by Celebrimbor and kind of cursed with being this spirit of vengeance within Mordor as well.
What kind of guidelines are you given? How much leeway do you have when it comes to creating backstories for the Nazgul?
Really, so we work with Middle-earth Enterprises and we just stay very closely within what we can read from The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. And then as long as we're not, I guess, breaking or changing established lore, then we're trying to fit the best possible story we can within those boundaries. Okay. So we're definitely creating our own story, our own standalone story and our own world within the boundaries of Middle-earth, but in the same way that the films change some things in order to make the best film they can, we definitely adapt some elements to try and make the best game we can as well.
Yeah.
But I think the reason they trust us and work so well with us is because we're obviously doing it from such a position of just loving and adoring and respecting the books.
Yeah. So what are the mechanics here? What are we looking at?
So the thing with Helm, as well as the fact that he's summoning in multiple drakes here, so dragons, he's also got this absolutely massive hammer, which was his instrument of vengeance in taking down his enemies in Rohan. And all of the Nazgul also have the powers to use the darkness and use shadow for these area effect attacks and projectile attacks and summoning creatures. So this might even be one of the harder boss fights in the game, actually, just with so much going on at once, with the drakes and the ghouls and Helm and his hammer. But we've got Eltariel here helping us out. And then, once you manage to defeat them, you're able to use the Ring of Power to get a vision into the past and the history of the Nazgul.
You should have given me your daughter's hand when I asked.
And then we've got Sauron in fair form and Celebrimbor together because they worked on the Rings of Power.
For your daughter's safe return.
Please, don't fight him.
If you kill me, you'll start a war.
War has come!
So these events, killing the suitor of his daughter, these are all established within the books. So it's really just the connection of these events to his fall and his fate in becoming the Nazgul that we're bringing together.
Well, thanks for showing it. This is
Thank
one
you.
of 3 flashbacks in the game, or how are you framing this?
There's actually more than that. This is one of the 3 individual Nazguls that we fight, but we have other battles against the Nazguls in a group. We have the Balrog fight, we face the Witch King, we face Sauron, so we definitely went to town on, really significantly increasing the scale and scope of the boss fights.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to playing it and seeing it for myself.
Cool, thank you.